Greetings to everyone. When casually discussing or considering economic collapse, it's easy to get caught up in details and miss some very important elements. We live in a very diverse world of higher novelty than that of the 1930s or any other time in commonly known history. It's easy to get caught in a tangent. Also, this is why including the Great Depression dataset, while helpful in some respects, is definitely and obviously not sufficient for charting a route on what is really an unexplored economic sea. What I'm attempting to do as a data modeler by trade is analyze the broad spectrum of properties and qualities of a collapse in order to define some fundamental elements. This might help me later on to grasp a native view or perhaps a gestalt of the situation. This is a work in progress. The first element that I see, I guess we could call a breakdown of centralized everything. Centralized governments across the world will become either vestigial, non-existent, or put back in their place as they become increasingly hated and economies fail. We will continue to see regional and local governments obtain minds of their own out of necessity. Centralized utility services will falter in quality and or availability of services due to erosion of infrastructure, increased costs of operation, and strained pocketbooks of the customers because of lost wages and higher taxes. A social scale journey toward residential or community-based utility systems will be on the rise, and that currently is on the rise. Water wells, solar and wind energy, and battery banks, and any other cost-effective and energy-efficient delivery of utilities will be on the rise, replacing outmoded centralized services and delivery methods. The next thing that I could talk about here would be the failure of the internet. We may begin to see a diminishing of the internet as we know it. Failures of some businesses and lack of infrastructure maintenance could lead to inaccessibility of certain areas of the internet, or at least much reduced reliability. This would affect the internet in tandem with the death throes of centralized governments across the world who are increasing internet censorship. A lot of them are socializing or nationalizing their internet services if they're not already that way. They also wish to exert detailed controls over the internet in the event of national emergency, particularly in the U.S. And the U.S. is basically the backbone of the internet. The good news, though, is that we may see a kind of decentralized internet surface, much like the BBS of the early 90s, but perhaps better in a certain sense. Wi-Fi community networks could facilitate communication and planning among physical neighbors. Household websites could be hosted residentially and shared across a kind of Wi-Fi local net and protocol. This will also be a reality-relevant network, as I would call it, in which people with whom you are interacting are your real physical neighbors. You'll get to know each other, leading to an increased sense of community. I've been considering and have already tested the requirements for me to set up a Wi-Fi local net forum for my neighborhood. Wi-Fi antennas and routers aren't currently very expensive for many people, and a basic systems administration knowledge is necessary. Alright, moving on to the next thing. Going into the future, we will likely see a surge of what I guess we could call common communities, or self-organizing communities of individuals having something important in common. As more people are dislocated or relocate to better situations, we may begin seeing the formation of more communities based on occupations, philosophical or religious views, etc. Terms such as strength in numbers, birds of a feather flock together, two heads are better than one, will be demonstrated more than they are now. There's going to be a lot of chaos that comes with an economic collapse, a lot of violence, a lot of mistrust among many people. But I believe things will settle down over time, and we should see some very interesting things develop, hopefully some very positive things. I'm sure there are many other sectors affected by this overarching element that I've discussed, the breakdown of centralized everything, or the breakdown of centralization. I'd like to hear your thoughts, your input, and additions. And thank you for watching.